At last, after many postponements, I find myself face to face with my hitherto unseen correspondent.
Again, his voice is at the door. I feel the old degree. I hear him ask the servant for such an one as me.
It was at her father's house. One of those large, square brick mansions so familiar in our older New England towns, surrounded by trees and shrubs. Without and within, exceptionally neat, clean, cool, spacious, and fragrant with flowers. After a little delay, I heard an extremely faint and pattering footstep, like a child in the hall. And there, in glided, almost noiselessly, a plain, shy little person, with a face without a simple good feature, but with eyes, as she herself said.
Like the sherry the guest leaves in the glass.
And with smooth braids of reddish chestnut hair.
I take a flower as I go, my face to justify. He never saw me in this life, I might surprise his eye. I cross the hall with mingled steps, I silent pass the door. I look on all this world contains, just his face, nothing more.
She had a quaint, nun-like look, as if she might be a German canoness of some religious order, whose prescribed garb was white peak, blue net worsted shawl. She came with 2 daylilies, which she put into my hand, saying softly under her breath.
These are my introduction.
And then added also under her breath in childlike fashion.
Forgive me if I seem strange. I never see strangers. I hardly know what I say.
We talk in careless and in toss, a kind of plummet strain, each sounding shyly just how deep the other's one had been.
But soon she began to talk, and thenceforth continued almost continuously, pausing sometimes to beg that I would talk instead, but readily recommencing when I evaded. There was not a trace of affectation in all of this. She seemed to speak absolutely for her own relief, and wholly without watching the effect on her hearer.
We walk. I leave my dog at home. A tender, thoughtful moon goes with us just a little way, and then we are alone. Alone if angels are alone first time they try the sky. Alone if those veiled faces be we cannot count on high.
She went on talking constantly and saying in the midst of narrative things quite quaint and aphoristic.
I find ecstasy in living. The mere joy in living is feeling enough.
I give to live that hour again, the purple in my vein. But he must count the drops himself, my price for every stain.
She told me of her household occupations, that she made all their bread because her father liked only hers. Then saying shyly,
And people must have puddings.
this very timidly and suggestively, as if there were mediums or gods.
He put the belt around my life. I felt the buckle snap and turned away, imperial, my lifetime folding up. Deliberate, as a duke would do. My kingdom's title deed, henceforth, a dedicated sort. A member of the cloud.
First, her tippet made of tulle, easily lifted from her shoulders and placed on the back of a wooden chair. Then her bonnet, the bow undone with a light forward pull. And then the long white dress, a more complicated matter, with mother-of-pearl buttons down the back, so tiny and numerous it takes forever before my hands can part fabric like a swimmer's dividing water and slip inside. you will want to know that she was standing in front of an open window in an upstairs bedroom, motionless, a little wide-eyed, looking down at the orchard below. The white dress puddled at her feet on the broad hardwood floor. The complexity of women's undergarments is not to be waved off. So I proceeded, like a polar explorer, through clips and clasps and moorings, through catches and straps and well-boned stays, sailing toward the iceberg of her nakedness. Later, I wrote that it was like riding a swan into the night. Of course, I cannot tell you everything. Like how her eyes narrowed and closed at the garden in the orchard below. How her hair tumbled free of its pins. How there were sudden dashes whenever we spoke. But I can tell you that it was awfully and terribly quiet in Amherst that Sabbath afternoon. Only a carriage passing by the house, a fly buzzing on a window pane. So I could plainly hear her inhale what I undid the very first hook and eye fastener of her corset. And I could hear her sigh when she was finally unloosed. Sigh the way some readers sigh when they realize that hope has feathers, that reason is a plank, that life is a loaded gun that looks at you with a yellow eye.